Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Summer is here, and with it comes mosquitoes, unless you call Southeast Termite and Pest Control and set up a treatment or multiple treatments for your home. Look, mosquitoes don't travel far, so if you kill yours, it's not like your neighbor's skeeters are going to fly on over and take their place. You've cleaned out your area. Call Southeast Termite and Pest Control to learn more. They can do a one-time treatment. They can do multiple treatments. The more treatments you do, the cheaper it gets. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Okay, let's get straight to the topic here. I hope you can read these at home. All-time college football playoff rankings. They've been doing this for 4 years. Somebody went back and tallied up week by week all of the point totals in the top 25 each week, added them all up. So over 4 years, this isn't just the final rankings. This is every week. This tells you who's been doing what. The red dots designate the 7 SEC teams in that top 25. Alabama far and away above everyone else. Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma kind of set themselves apart in the next 4. You got Alabama, Auburn is in there in the top 10. Mississippi State, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida down at the bottom. Guys, we talked about it in that last segment. And to me, the one thing that caught my eye when I looked at this, the job Dan Mullen did at Mississippi State. You're in the toughest division in college football, arguably year in, year out. You took over a program that traditionally worse than Vanderbilt in this league, a terrible program historically.
Yes.
And you did that? You had them in the top 13 teams in the country over the last 4 years? We don't know about, first-year coaches. He was a first-time coach that succeeded. Maybe Jeremy Pruitt would be that guy. I like what I see out of Jeremy Pruitt, like the resume, but in terms of best hires in the SEC this offseason, in my view, I think Dan Mullen is the guy that looks like that would have been the surer bet for anybody out there.
Well, to see that Mississippi State's ahead of LSU on that list, and to see that Mississippi State's ahead of Florida on that list, 2 SEC teams that have been powers, that's pretty impressive. He had 1 year where, if I remember right, Mississippi State started out the season unranked, and by week 6 they were #1 in the country.
Yep.
For several weeks.
Yes.
I think he did a tremendous job at Mississippi State, and I think there's every reason to think he'll do it at Florida. He was Florida's offensive coordinator when Tebow was there. I think he's a heck of a coach. That one and TCU were the two that really stand out to me.
Yeah, let's see. I know Mike Strange, we were talking before the show. Look, can we go back to that graphic just for a second so people can see where that is? If we can, we can. If we can't, we can't. TCU is number 5 on that list. There we go. You got Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Oklahoma. They've kind of been dominant in the playoff era.
Yeah.
But the next team on that list, Gary Patterson and TCU.
The next team on that list, Texas Christian University. Of all the Notre Dames and Southern Cals and Georgias and everybody, it just goes to show to me why I single that out is it shows what happens if you hire the right coach. He's been there 18 years. When he got there, Texas Christian was in Conference USA. Then they went up to less than 10 years ago, they were in the Mountain West. Yeah. And now they're in the Big 12, and now they're number 5 on that list.
And when they first got to the Big 12, they had a little bit of a blip there getting into it, but the last 4 years there, you're looking good again. What stands out to you guys? More on TCU, Mullen? What are you going to go?
I mean, obviously Mississippi State and TCU stood out to me, but I tell you what stood out, top 12 teams, twice as many Big 12 teams as SEC teams. That tells me the importance of strength of schedule. You had Oklahoma, TCU, Baylor, and Oklahoma State all in the top 12 on that list. Alabama and Auburn, the only SEC representatives. The SEC beats up on itself and makes it hard for anybody but Alabama to get up there a lot of years, and in some cases the Big 12 has an easier path to a national championship.
That's a good point.
And there's a reason year after year, and even this year, look at your top 3. It was Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson. Those were the top 3 on the list. Those will be probably the top 3 for in 2018 for this season. I mean,
and
they're
the foreseeable
up there.
future.
Yes, I mean they're just kind of like locked in there. And somebody has to unseat them, and you can see why it's so tough to break into that. What Alabama's the only one to make the Final Four every year, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, they're like fixtures up there.
Well, and looking at Urban Meyer, I'm not an Urban Meyer fan, never was, didn't like him at Utah, didn't like him at Florida, and don't like him at Ohio State. But if he were coaching, if Nick Saban weren't around, we would be talking about him as being an all-time great. He still is, but an all-time great compared to Nick Saban, it's like, well, he's got 2 national championships. Or what's he got? 3 now. He's got 3 national titles. But Saban's got 5, 6.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not even halfway to Saban. But he's been at Ohio State, I think, 6 years now, 7 years now. He's only got 8 losses.
So
8 losses in all that time.
Did you like him at Bowling Green? Or you didn't?
I didn't know him there. I didn't
Okay.
know him there. I just remember thinking he was kind of a.
I think his next stop, you might like him more.
I can't use the word I thought he was like when he was interviewed when he was at Utah and became a
And the
big
last
shot.
thing, John, how differently would things be at Tennessee right now if Dan Mullen had not turned down Tennessee? If he had taken the job and come here instead of going to Florida?
Yeah, no knock on Pruitt, and you never know. Pruitt may be better than Dan Mullen long term, but
Whoa. How many things does that change?
that's the thing that's amazing to me is there were people here when it leaked out that that's who Curry was going to go talk to. He was interested in Dan Mullen. There were people who didn't want Dan Mullen either. You know, they were looking at his records, 69 and 46. That's not great.
It is
if you-
Mississippi State.
It's pretty darn great.
Starkville.
Yeah, I think he's.
Yeah.
I think you would have a more likely positive outcome in the end, simply because he's done it before in this conference in a tough situation in a tougher division.
He's done it with 2 quarterbacks nobody really wanted either. Dak Prescott,
Yeah.
LSU wanted him as a tight end. Nick Fitzgerald, nobody recruited him. He's done a pretty good job with his quarterbacks.
Very.
There you
Okay. When we come back, kind of an interesting question for you. Who's in charge? In terms of Tennessee, if there's some sort of crisis that could trickle down from the university to athletics, you know, like we see every couple of years over there, every couple of months over there, who takes charge? You got a lot of interims and lame ducks. Come on back. We'll discuss.